Right, so that happened. Hello everyone, this is Joker and welcome to my channel. And another Formula 1 review. I cannot say race review because this time there was no race. Not really actually. And I'm talking obviously about the Grand Prix of Spa, the Belgian Grand Prix. Yeah, Sunday was a farce. Nothing else than I can say about it than Sunday was a farce. However, I do want to say not racing was the right call. Right, before I go into everything, I just gonna try to go through it a little bit more chronologically. So I'll have to start with, qualification. I don't have the complete results on hand, and I'm only gonna talk about the highlights for me. So basically the points that I say that really spring out. Q1, Q2, it was weird to see both Ferraris go out in Q2. But yeah, that happened. And then Q3. Q3, the start of Q3, for me that was, I cannot find the word, but the race director Michael Masi needs to be ashamed of what he did there. That is so many times now that he was too late with the red flag. Yes, I am aware that the crash of Lando Norris was in large part his own fault. I've rewatched the lap and he went a little bit on the curb, tried to overcompensate, found some water, not overcompensate, tried to correct, found some water and bent it in the wall. But that's not the reason why the red flag was too late. Sure, the red flag might have prevented that whole crash from happening. The whole reason is just safety. And if multiple drivers complain about aquaplaning, then you know the track is not safe. There's no argument about that. So Michael Masi, certainly of the third call from aquaplaning, and I believe at that point it's the second call for a red flag. Yeah, then there should be going off a bell from, okay, maybe it's not safe to drive, red flag. So in that regard, I completely agree with the words of Sebastian Vettel, especially the ones after the red flag. And it were not just those three drivers who said at that point, it's undrivable. I have heard 9 radio calls in different degrees of this is undrivable. And a few of them actually called out for a red flag. If so many drivers complain about the weather, you as race director should act, not wait. Yes, there is the argument, if it is too dangerous, why push? First of all, that's what drivers do. They only have a limited time to put in a lap. That's qualification. That is why the race director needs to put a stop or postpone even when it's too dangerous to push, because drivers will push. That's what they do. If they don't, they'll catch out. And that's the last thing that they want. So drivers will push regardless. Again, that's why Michael Masi had to step in, but failed to do so once again. But then, yeah, after the little red flag period, unluckily, Lando is okay. Most important of it is that he's okay. His car isn't, but he is. But they managed to fix his car for Sunday. Let's put it that way. And then, yeah, the weirdest qualification in a long time. Wow. Who would have seen that result coming? And I'm not even talking about the pole position. And yes, I'm Dutch, and yes, I am in favor of Max Verstappen, and I do want to see him do good. So I do say, cool that he got pole. But from all the times that I wish he hadn't, it was this Saturday. Because that quali lap of George Russell. Wow. In one of the slowest cars on the grid, putting it on P2, starting on the front row. He outqualified Lewis Hamilton in a Mercedes. The works team of Mercedes in a Williams of today. One of the slowest cars on the grid. They say rain is a great equalizer. And George proved it. But not only that, he proved he's worth his salt. If he doesn't get a good drive, it's a wasted. It's like, what the hell, man, that lap, it was... I watched it, very few mistakes, minor mistakes, and those mistakes were all weather related. He drove as perfectly as he could. It was brilliant to see. If you get the chance to watch that lap, compare it to with Max Verstappen, and you can see the difference in the cars. That makes it only more special that he put it in P2. That was wow. I really wish that Max Verstappen did not won that pole. I really, really, really would have loved to see George Russell on pole position there. I mean it. I really mean it. Amazing. I'm lost for words there. So yeah, I'll go on because else I'm just going to dead air with words. So yeah, Max Verstappen to pole position, George Russell second, Lewis Hamilton third. And from there on, I kinda lost the list. But Ricciardo, Vettel, and Pierre Gasly. And then the rest. Yeah, and then we come to Sunday. I'm not sure if this is going to be long or short, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible because all those delays are not needed in this podcast. Or video. Phonecast. Yeah. On the way to the grid, Checo Perez bended in the wall. Cue facepalm. About the only thing he should not have done, he did. For multiple reasons, some in hindsight. That was really like, oh, come on. Okay, true. The weather was horrendous. I mean, really horrendous. And the slower an F1 car goes, the more it will slip, the more into trouble it comes. So, yeah. He was out before the race even started. And then the race start. Delayed by 5 minutes. Delayed by 5 minutes. Delayed by 5 minutes. Next update in 5 minutes. Next update in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later. That kind of sums up the start of the race. I forgot how long it took, but it felt like hours already, but it wasn't. And then the two most exciting is not the word I'm looking for, but let's put it this way: I clenched my beach. Yeah, I was clenching because I was scared anyone would fall off the grid. That was another mistake by Michael Masi. Those two formation laps were way too dangerous. That he then put on red flag and put them to the pit lane. Yeah, that was the right call, but the better call would have been leave them on the grid. Just safety reasons. If you haven't watched, it was so scary to see how they all could not see the car in front of them. The only one who had some vision was Max Verstappen, because he was driving for pole. George Russell, on second place, had trouble seeing Max Verstappen because of the spray. Lewis Hamilton could not even see George Russell, let alone the rest of the grid. So those formation laps were way too dangerous to be called. So the suspension on that point, kind of the right call. The better call would have been no formation laps and suspend right away. Yeah, and then we got to the waiting game. And the waiting game again. And then there was the conversation about, could Perez join the race? Yes or no, because technically it didn't start yet. And after some debate, he was allowed to join the pack. For whatever good it did. I mean, yeah, for the classification, he wasn't last. Let's put it that way. Because Lance Stroll, with his rear wing, I believe, got 10-second penalty, so he dropped down all the way to the last point in the qualification. And I say qualification because all they eventually did was drive 2 laps behind the safety car, red flag the race, and the session will not be suspended. Alright, we heard that only an hour later, half an hour later, that it won't be resumed. So we had basically a 2-lap race with a countback of 1 lap for the results, and all behind the safety car. So no actual racing. The conspiracy theorists out there, they say it's just because that way there was a race, obligation done, no refunds needed. However, the truth of the matter is, refunds are not the FIA responsibility. They are the venue. So, yeah, for the fans in that refund regards, it has nothing to do with it. It most likely has some monetary reasoning behind it, but not as far-fetched as that. But it was a farce. Those regulations will be changed, I'm sure of it. I've seen some reports that they will take a look at it. My personal preference will be, alright, it's too dangerous to drive. We won't do any formations laps. We put in a classification, sorry. I used the word earlier wrong. Classification in right now, as it stands right now. And it will be deemed a non-race. Or something like that. Because, if it is too dangerous to drive, even behind the safety car, you should not drive. And it was too dangerous. Anyone who says it wasn't paying attention well enough. And I know some race drivers said, well, they should have raced. There was standing water. And not a little bit. Standing water means aquaplaning. And if you need to have a reminder of how dangerous that is, Jules Bianchi, enough said. So yeah, the cancellation or suspension or not continuing of, yeah, whatever you want to call it, the race, non-race, was the right decision. And if anyone says, yeah, but there is no yeah, but if you look at Spa 1989, how horrendous that those crashes were in better conditions than we had now. True, the cars are safer now, but just because the cars are safer doesn't mean you can gamble on crashing. Period. There's no argument to be brooked there. Motorsport isn't safe. Never will be. But there are some risks that are just incredulous if you take them. Like Michael Masi, those 2 formation laps were incredulous to take. The risk. Drivers will take it, so it's the race director who should step in there. I also heard that the cancellation of the race came a little bit of the pressure from the drivers, and I'm not surprised because of Saturday. If so, good job, drivers. And yeah, then comes another controversial point, or points, I must say. They drove technically a race. The minimum distance required for points, although behind the safety car, so it was just a pace race. No overtaking allowed. And they got half points. This is a difficult one to take a stance on. I mean, on the one hand, there was no race, and the points are divided on Sunday, which they were technically, but they are divided for the race, not for qualification. However, especially because these were, tricky conditions to do the qualification, is that worthy enough with the cancellation of the race to have some points awarded? I use the word some, not just because the classification gave them only half points. I can kind of agree that half points are too much. Period. But on the other hand, no points means that the risks they took on Saturday were meaningless. No points would mean the risks they took on Saturday were literally pointless. And that's something I cannot agree with. If a race is cancelled to force majeure, like it was now, qualification should count. Because qualification is always going on the edge, especially in the rain on Spa. There are a few tracks more dangerous in the rain. They literally put their lives on the line to go fight for pole position. And then there is no race. In those circumstances, those risks should be awarded, I say. But what do you say? Please leave it down below in the comments. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It's no, there are two things. WTF1, they put out an interesting statement. Statement is not the right word, but it's the word I can only find now. it's good that George and Orlando did not got their pole position in these conditions. I don't know if I can agree with it. And the reasoning behind it is they would have been on the podium for it. And their first victory, in this case the first podium for George, potential also first victory for either George or Orlando, would have been a hollow one. I mean, look at the last race where Ocon won, actually won. Not because of the disqualifications or other trickery, he won on track. Racing, not qualification, racing. That gives some special adulation. There was no doubt in anyone's mind Russell would not keep P2. That would have been impossible for him to keep it there. Even in Monaco, he would have been overtaken. So, is it a good thing he did not have pole position? And because of that, even though his first podium is a hollow one, but at least his first victory is not a hollow one. I found it a difficult one because winning is winning under any conditions. So, yeah, what do you say about it? Leave it down in the comments below as well. So, yeah, that was it for this event, because I can't call it a race. And now we're going up to Zandvoort. I can't even grade this race, because there was none. And I only graded the race, not the qualifications or the whole weekend. But if I need to give this weekend, no, I can't. Qualifications, I would give it a 6. Because of how Michael Masi failed in his job. More on that, I'm very sure he does not do it on purpose. He's trying to do his best. And he is no Charlie Whiting. So maybe he needs some assistance. If he gets some assistance in race directing, not just stewarding, maybe that will make things better. Or else I would say Sebastian Vettel for race director. Right, with that, I'm really gonna end this video. See you all at Zandvoort. Well, not literally, because I won't be there. I will be watching it from the telly. So, yeah, everybody, stay safe, take care, and see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.